What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your girl V-Henny, man. You already know the vibes. Welcome to the Artistry, where we talk shit about music, entertainment, and the everyday struggles. And you already know we got a dope guest in the building, all the way from El Barrio, Spanish Harlem, actor, influencer, comedian, porn star. No, wait.
Where you saw that at?
You already know we got Marc in the building.
It was good,
What's
family.
good? How you doing?
Thank you for having me.
No,
I
thank
appreciate
you for
this.
being
For
here,
real,
man.
for real.
I was actually like, I've been, I've been following you for quite some time, and they always, they tell you like when you're doing like the whole media personality, don't come off as a fan, but like fuck this, I am a fan.
I appreciate that. No, I appreciate all the support. You know what I mean? And all the different approaches, right? Because then, like, you do experience some people that are like real fan. Like, oh, it's kind of. I had to get used to that, because it's kind of. It's kind of funny. I like to make sure that I'm 10 tones down. I stay human,
Yeah.
And so sometimes I respond to, not sometimes, I really respond to all my DMs. Unless it's distasteful, then I'll just, delete it.
Okay.
But, I get like, oh my God, you responded.
Yeah.
This is so cool. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm still human, like, what's up? For me, it's all about connecting.
It is. You're right about that. You're right
So
about that.
It would be hypocritical for me to kind of, separate myself, from the people.
Gotcha. Well, before we get into anything, I want to take a shot, right? I want to do a toast.
Let's get it.
I want to say congratulations on everything that you've been accomplishing. Super dope.
Thank you.
You are an inspiration to many, including myself. So continue striving, continue growing, and this is to you.
Hey, salud.
Salud.
Thank you to y'all and the artistry. Thank you.
Yeah, I already know the vibes. Hey.
That was good.
Oh.
That was smooth.
Yeah, it is smooth.
That was whew.
So let's get back to business,
So what it up?
So
I'm loving the vibe here, by the way. Like, this
Thank
is
you.
so dope. I love what you're doing here. You know what I mean? Like, the positive messages, all of that, all the images, the colors.
It's you
lit.
have to you should know, as an entrepreneur, as a just you being a person in itself, like you go through growth, and then you have your levels. So it's like at this point, like with everything, is like everything that the positive message is just everything that we go through, and not only that, like it's the whole hip hop aesthetic. I grew up in the Bronx, so and you're my neighbor. You understand?
Right.
Like you're my cousin.
We family.
Yeah.
Spanish Harlem in the Bronx. We're literally connected right there at that bridge. You know what I mean? We definitely family. So
Not definitely. Those that don't know, this man has a background, and it's super dope about like the whole transitioning. So like the fact that you went from a mechanical engineer to getting your BA in theater to then like overall he's just a creative engineer.
Thank you.
And this was mentioned. This is by you. You actually created this title, and I love it. And if you can, like, explain to those what exactly does that mean.
Thank you for acknowledging that. When I made the transition, it was a giant leap of faith, and I think it was like there was one point in time I had to come up with a resume. You know what I mean? But it was like it wasn't like an actor's resume.
Okay.
That I already had. But I think it was like a director's resume. It was like, what have I done behind the camera? You know what I mean? And so I had to put down a bunch of things because I've done a bunch of things. I've shot so many things. You know what I mean? From music videos to like big live performance events, weddings. A lot. And so, I was like in the resume, I was looking at the format, right? And it's in the template. It says like your name, right? They give you like the template, the date. They tell you like like job this and that, third, and it was like job title, and I was like, what do I put here? I was like, I gotta think about this because I can't just put one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, well, what do I do? I started asking myself questions like, let's get to the bottom of this. So I started asking. And I was like, well, I did engineering, right? And now I'm a creative. And then my brain just kind of was like, well, hello. And then I thought about what I do in the industry, like what I do now, right?
Okay.
Like I have my background in acting, right? and I'm a storyteller. I'm a professional storyteller at the end of the day.
Yes.
Right? And then with all of my other experience from photography to videography, cinematography, lighting, editing, producing, like I have experience all over set, all around, right?
Okay.
So I help a lot of my friends, my peers, just for the sake of art, because I really, truly love this. So it's like, where do you need me? Right? Do you need me in front of the camera? You need me behind the camera? You need me off site? You need me on set? Like I can fill in anywhere, right? So it was like, then I was like, well, an engineer, that's what an engineer does.
Yeah.
An engineer, mechanical engineer is not a mechanic. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, I just want to make that distinguish. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, a mechanic," right? Like,
Yeah.
no. A mechanical engineer is like
Is it
a
something-
scientist. Like we understand. You have to understand everything.
Okay.
It's
like creating or like a designing a car type of
well,
thing.
right. Well,
Okay.
I did that because I wanted to pursue, designing cars.
Okay, okay.
But mechanical engineering is everything. Like this
Okay.
chair, this mic, this before this is made, they have to test materials. They have to test everything, like
Okay.
stress points. I mean, it's a lot, you know.
Okay.
So it kind of formulated my brain in this equation way, And so I was like, everything that I do is kind of I'm engineering things. You know what I mean? Like I engineer stories with people. I engineer the sets, choreographs. You know what I mean? So that's a long answer. And then I was like, boom, I'm a creative engineer. Like
makes sense.
where do you need me?
Okay.
I can help you I can be the actor. I can shoot this. I can edit this. I can produce. You know what I mean? It was like I'm an engineer in a creative field. And so to be more specific, I wanted to create a title that helped other people like me that did more than one thing.
Gotcha.
You know what I
so
mean?
overall, you're very detail oriented.
The more detailed you are, the better the result.
Yes.
In any aspect of life. You know what I mean? Not just your career.
Okay.
And not just creatively.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like you could be a bank accountant, right? And the more detailed you get about your job, right? Because then you're breaking it down almost to a science, and then there's a passion that comes with that. And so that energy put into whatever you do is going to excel you.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Learning the fact that you know how you were a mechanical engineer, and then like you dived into theater. I just want to know, like, how was that process? And really, one of the main question would be, how was that transition? Because
Right.
that's two
Yeah.
totally different fields.
It was really finding life's purpose.
Okay.
Right? Like, I encourage everyone who's listening or watching at any point to dig a little deeper and think about your purpose. Right? Because we're born in a society today where they don't want you to give a.
Yeah.
You understand? They don't want you to care, and it feels like it's cool to not give a fuck, right? Look at
Yeah.
all these fucks I don't give. How many times we've seen that, right? And there's not to get too deep into that, but there's a desensitizing that's happening, and so, at some point you should come to a place in your life where you're like, well, what am I doing here? Right?
Okay.
Like, well, what is this? Right? Whether you believe in God or not, what is this? What are you doing here?
What's your purpose?
Like, you know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be, celebrity. It doesn't have to be saving the world.
Okay.
You understand? This world is vast. You understand? There's so many things you can do to make money today. There's so many things that can help people, help society, or any single way. I think our purpose ultimately, not to get too deep because I could talk for hours about this, is to find what we can do to add to the world, to add to helping people.
Okay.
On some level, to any extent, and so that transition for me was kind of almost seamless because I didn't even think about it.
Okay.
Honestly, like my spirit just drove me the whole time. Like it was
Okay.
like, I'm done with this engineering. This ain't it. I know this ain't. And let me tell you, I was working as an engineer in my dad's company, and I was making good money.
Okay.
So if I cared, if my goal was to make money, you know what I mean, I would have just stayed there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's not taking shots at anybody that chooses money. Your life is your choice. You understand? But for me, it was like, I'm going to dig a little deeper. I think I can give a little bit something else to this planet other than just making these monetary gains,
Okay.
And so I just didn't even think about the transition.
So digging deeper.
Yeah, you got to.
What would you say now? Who you are now, today? What's your purpose?
Oh my God. It's honestly been the same, right? Since day one. Because for me, when I decided to be an actor, when I took my leap of faith, it was because I wanted to inspire other people. I think that's the greatest power on earth.
Yes.
You know what that is? Like for me to just do what I'm doing and then make you feel like you want to do something in your life. That's a power, you understand,
Yeah.
that we have and we maybe neglect or don't shed enough light on, inspiration. Because if without that, then what are we getting up for? What are we inspired to do today, tomorrow, next year, when I'm 40, when I'm 50, you know, and so like just kind of making that choice where it was like, that's what I want to do for people. That's what I want to do in the world. Because I was watching movies and, I was watching people and I felt inspired. I watched a movie and I'm like, shit, I'm motivated right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is a power. I recognized it. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. I think I can help perspective for people to change hearts. You know what I mean? And that's really our power as storytellers.
Gotcha.
You understand? As storytellers, we have the power of perspective.
I like that. I like that terminology, storytellers, right? Because yes, you are like watching your videos, and not only watching your videos, like reading up on who you are. I can see that yes, you are telling a story. Let me ask you this though: can it get misconstrued with the fact that people look at your Instagram and they're like, yo, he's just this IG comedian? Like,
I love that you brought that up because for a long time, I didn't even want to do skits online because I didn't want to fall in that box.
Okay.
You understand? My whole life, I don't let nobody put me in a box, yo. Like, don't do it. Find all your strengths and then find the one thing that you are absolutely the best at and add all those other strengths to that. You understand? But don't let nobody put you in a box. And so, like, when I first, when IG first came out with it, because it was just photos, right? At one point, I've been performing since 2010.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And all over the city. Like theater. I've been on TV twice. I've done a lot. Indie film, forget it. I don't know how many indie films I've done at this point. You know what I mean? It's like a lot. And so then when IG like started coming up, right? And then shout out to Ken Stars, my brother. I reconnected with him because I grew up with Ken Stars on the block. He lives like 5 buildings from me. You know what I mean? But we reconnected in 2015. And I had already been doing my acting. I had already been doing my shooting. I saw that he was doing his IG thing. And I was like, I didn't care for the IG thing because I saw it like that. He's just, it feels like there's a cap, there's a ceiling. Some people are going to put you in a box, right? And I was like, I can't be a part of that. Like, that's cool, but not for me, right? For like maybe like a year or two, I was focused only helping Ken Stars be the king of IG because that was my brother. I was like, I already see my vision, my purpose. I know where I'm going. I want to help you, right? So anyway, and then as time went on, like whatever, I started meeting a bunch of people, through Ken, doing skits. I was helping Ken shoot skits, edit skits, and then be in skits, right? And then some people were like, yo, you could do this too, though. Why don't you do your own videos? You know what I mean? Because just when you're there and you see the process, I have a heavy hand in a lot of things, So like, yo, you could do this too, and but not my thing. Like, I'm focused on films and stuff, and then I was just like, at some point you have to understand that you can't fight the future.
Yeah.
You understand?
I know what you mean.
You can't fight the way of the world is going. Like, I was like, okay, you have to really check in with yourself and the world, what's happening, so that you can know what the best step is next. I was like, it's going to be silly of me to neglect this new form of entertainment, this new space of entertainment, because that's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's a new space. Like now where,
Now it's booming.
I want to declare that it is literally a skit industry.
It is.
Like, just like the music industry, it is a skit industry, y'all. Like,
there is.
It's not all hunky-dory, yo. There's beef and all that shit, you know what I mean?
Imagine.
You know what I'm they're always crazy. Like you wouldn't like what bunch of comedians like y'all supposed to be just laughing like yo this drama like it's really ego driven unfortunately but I'm gonna keep it a buck. It's just a lot of egos managing because you get a certain amount of followers and you think yada 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 what I mean, and it's like come on chill. You know what I mean. And so anyway getting back to answering more specifically your question, because I be opening tabs, yo. My fault. Y'all gotta keep me on track.
About that. Listen.
Y'all gotta keep me on track, cause
nah, you're good. I'm actually entertained. Are you entertained?
Are you not entertained? Let me stop. Wait, bring me back to the question.
So the question was the misconception of being an IG
yes,
comedian.
But yeah, if you're trying to do the skits thing now and you're trying to do the comedy thing, because I get hit up a lot actually.
I was wondering, like, can it hinder you a little bit since you?
I want to say yes and I want to say no. And this is the thing, is that we're exploring this new space.
Yes.
You understand? Like, we're still figuring out, like, what's what with this social media influencer, social media content creator, right? There's so many different terms. That's how we're all over the place with it. I was just having a conversation not too long ago with another talkback, and it was about this, it was like, like real trained artists, how do they feel and deal with, like, these new social media influencers. I don't know if I should call them artists or not, and that's the weird space we're in, because it's like, and we have to get more specific, because back to the whole detail, I'm very detailed.
Yeah.
And as an actor, you're trained to understand that the more detailed you are, the better your performance is going to be. You understand? This is not just memorizing lines. It's not, I have to walk here now, I have to walk there. No, I have to justify why I'm coming over here. I have to justify every single little thing. And the deeper I go with that, the better it is for me. So that's just like an acting tip.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
But it can, because for me, like, I didn't want to be viewed as that. I didn't want to be viewed as just another IG comedian. You understand? Because I have training, I have background, I have credits. It was like, you can't put me in this box with these people. Not to, no disrespect to them, but it was like we come from different backgrounds.
Yeah, I get what
you're saying. What I mean? And get it how you get it. I'm not gonna fault nobody. You know what I mean? But when you treat your thing as art, you understand, then that artistry is on another level, and you're gonna be more conscious and aware of what you're doing. And so for me, I was like if you look at my page, you're not gonna see a lot of fleshy skits. I don't like to exploit women for the sake of views, even though I know that works a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can find that everywhere, right? Because people want to see what they want to see, and I get it. But I wasn't going to do that for my artistry. I was like, I'm conscious. My nephew, I'm thinking about my nephew, you know what I mean? Like, these kids are on IG. They're seeing this, you know what I mean? And I wanted to, distinguish that difference where I can do adult humor. We can make sex jokes, but it's still in a way where we're just grazing rated R. I'm not, you know what I mean?
It's PG-13 in a sense.
I'm still keeping to the comedy. Like the goal is comedy. It's not sex. You know what I mean? And it took me a while to kind of figure out that flow, because IG in the beginning, that's all they wanted to see. And still today, for a large part, is what they want to see. They want to see violence. They want to see disrespect. They want to see shock value, is what I call it. Those public stunts. They want to see, girls, you know what I mean? Like, it's all that kind of thing. And so in my artistry, I kind of make sure I'm very aware and conscious of it, so I fight back against that. I had to figure out how I wanted to present myself on IG to make sure that I'm creating a page for directors, for producers, for writers. You understand? For those...
You're creating a page true to yourself.
Right. That's entirely true to me. And also that I can almost, walk the line and juggle and dance on the skit industry side, and then also in the acting industry, where like somebody who, like a casting director, they're not going to view me as just some skit IG comedian, right? They're like, I have a film on Amazon. They're like, oh, they can see the work. If you see the format of my skits, the work that I put into my skits, it's not just a point and shoot, Again, no offense to the people that do those kind of things. It's just that I definitely wanted to make it my own.
Yeah.
And that's my way of making it my own. Because I'm a storyteller. So I want to make sure in 60 seconds, in 30 seconds, in 15 seconds, I'm giving you an arc.
So when did you start accepting the role being this content creator?
I love that question. it's still new to me, you know, because the goal for me has, from the beginning, has always been to inspire, has always
Okay.
been to connect with people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I have a lot of dreams. And I always tell people, if I can do what I love to do at the highest level, then all these other things are going to come with that. But what I care about is actually this platform. The chance to be able to talk and tell you what goes on in here and between these two things, right? And kind of give perspective and insight from my mind, that I don't think is often said in this world. And for me, this is everything.
Gotcha.
So thank you, like for real. Like this is like I won my first award for best actor in comedy. Shout out to Ramon Pasante, his film Subpoena in 2019.
Okay.
Shout out to Official Latino Film Festival. The film festival I won that award, and it was my first award ever won.
Oh, well,
To
okay.
be honest,
Congratulations.
you know
on
what I mean.
that. So
Thank you.
dope.
The movie's mad funny though. Go check it out. It's called Subpoena. Um, Long story short, it was an opportunity for me to say something.
Okay.
You understand? And this video is actually still on my page. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but if you're curious, go check it out. Just gotta scroll down. You'll see it's a video of me on stage holding the award, and I kind of spoke about a truth that I saw.
Okay.
You know, not to get too deep into it right now. And the love that I got was,
Amazing.
I mean, beyond what I imagined.
Okay.
Like, you know, it was like, you know, I caught flack, I think, from the people that I was speaking up towards, I want to say against.
Okay.
You understand? Because I just need them to acknowledge the truth that I see also. But the people, because I'm all about the people, people in the theater that day, when I said what I said, was like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I was like, chills on my bald head. You heard? I was like, this is what it's about. Like, it's being able to get up there and say things that people maybe haven't heard yet or enough, and speak that truth. You know, that's my goal in this life ultimately.
That's what's up, though. That's the, you know, and
Salud to the
yes,
truth.
again, no, let's do this. Listen,
You know what I mean?
It's it's amazing, you know, like just, and this is what's the whole purpose of being here. You understand? Like people don't understand the process you go through.
Right.
The
Oh, yeah.
process, you know, like your story, because you're telling the story, but who's telling your story?
Right.
You
I
understand?
don't know. I'm gonna do a biopic someday.
You know.
This motherfucker was everywhere.
I know the fact that you're spiritual.
Absolutely.
So, you know, knowing that when you're spiritual, you're a creator as well. You gotta you battle with growth, right? So, you know, there are moments where obstacles overshadow your growth. You know, so I wanna know, what do you do to keep a positive mindset when dealing with something towards negativity? You know, or overcoming something
Word.
that it puts you in that mindset, or in that feeling of just, it's just a negative space, you know?
Yeah. I love that question. No one's asked me that before. I think that, you know, this is why, as an artist, right? Like when you enter the entertainment field, the creative field, you know, it's important for you to constantly check in with you. Constantly try to understand yourself better, you know, and that comes every day, every year. You know, I always tell people you're as old as you've ever been, and you're as young as you'll ever be every single day.
I like that.
You understand? And so, you know, you should constantly be learning about yourself. And so the more you can understand about you, right, how you deal with things, how you feel about things, then the better you can get through these moments, because they come in life, regardless where you come from, what you do. You're going to have these life moments, right? Because we have a conscious mind, unfortunately and fortunately, to be like, shit, I'm whatever age and I'm hearing, what am I doing in my life, right? Like, instead of just doing whatever you want to do, we have this moment of all these human emotions.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to, you know, just default back to the work, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, I'm a workaholic. Like, I'd rather, you know, just get up and do. And, you know, that's sometimes the hardest thing as an artist, because like we were talking about this earlier, like you can have the idea, you can have the vision, but the execution isn't always attached to those things.
Yes.
You know, and when you fall into those negative spaces, you know, because I definitely do, and you know, you gotta just be patient with yourself. understand that this is gonna happen in life. You're gonna feel these, like, this is what I mean about checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, why am I feeling like this right now? Okay, maybe it's financial, or maybe it's some love loss, or whatever it is. But this is now the chance for you to internalize this, check in. Oh, okay, yeah. It's just money, but whatever. I'm gonna get money soon. Or it was this love loss. Well, it is what it is. Everything has for a reason. Like, check in. You start to feel better. You figure out what your next best step is.
Yes.
When you do that, right? Because if it is a love loss, if it is some financial stress, and you can't live in that. You can't live in the problem. You understand? You have to.
Yes.
You have to explore the
Some
solutions.
people get stuck on the story.
Right.
You know?
No, they literally
Like
live.
you said, live in the
They
problem.
live in the problems. You got to explore solutions immediately. You know what I mean? And that's oftentimes easier said than done.
Yes.
You know, because people have their own experiences, their own traumas, and all of that. So we can't neglect those things. You know, but I'll tell you right now, it's hard work. It's hard work to climb out of that and stay out of those moments.
Okay.
You know, because it gets harder. The older you get, for those youngins, the older you get, you know what I'm saying? Those moments happen a lot more often than you think.
That's a
You
fact.
know, more what is it? More mortality. You understand? Has its way of showing its face every now and then, and you have to deal with that in a way that, you know, is almost unknown, right? Like, because death is so unknown. Not to get too deep into all of that, but you know, those are those moments where you're like, all right, but this is one life. This is one.
Do you read a lot?
I like to read, but things that I'm interested in, not just, you know, like, I'm reading right now a lot about Puerto Rican history.
Okay.
You
By the way,
know.
I saw a comment, right?
yeah?
I wanted to. So I saw you post about, like, 4th of July, right? And someone was just like, and which I love your response, right? Because it was like someone had mentioned, like, in the comment box, how the United States did so much for Puerto Rico,
Right.
and then you was just like, like, through the history, yeah.
Yeah, people don't understand, you know, and right now there's a strong focus in my life to the story and history of Puerto Rico.
Okay.
As far as, you know, it goes with America, you know, the inception of USA in 1898. It's deep and it's dark, to be
Yeah.
honest. People
Yeah.
don't know, and they don't want you to know. You understand? Like, they want you to think, well, if America leaves, yeah, we're fucked. You know what I mean? And, you know, on one side of that coin, that's the truth, because they've already indoctrinated us so far.
Yes.
You understand that it does feel impossible to exist without America's presence. You know, but on the other side of that, you know, to the point that I was making on the July 4th post, we've never had an Independence Day. You understand? Puerto Rico, or the island of Borinquen, has never governed itself, unless we go back to, like, when the Taínos was there. You understand? But before, after that, we've completely been enslaved and taken over. There was a very, very, very short period of time between when Spain let us go and America came in. Very short amount of time. It almost felt a little planned, but we're not gonna go that far.
What made you get into a deep dive? What made you want to get into the rabbit hole with that?
You know, it's just who I am, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, I'm the rabbit hole guy. Like,
Okay.
again, it comes from my artist. Like, it's attached to my actor. Like, you have to understand, as an actor, like, we have to make choices with the script. We get a script, right? Those are just the words. I tell people all the time, like, that's literally like a coloring book, just with the outlines. And now you get to, as the actor, color in the spaces that you want. Those are the choices you can make. The more specific, the more detailed, the more down the rabbit hole you go with your character, the better that color, the better that picture's gonna be. The scene, whatever. I'm just more metaphorically speaking, right? And so it's just who I am.
Okay.
I'd rather get to the root of things. Like, I go far. Like, I'm just like, literally, sometimes it's too much. But I get to the root. I like to get to the root of things. But it's like, where did words come from? Like, who called floor floor? You understand?
Yeah,
Like, no one thinks about these things. This is what I mean. Like, these are things, like, I like to bring up the things that nobody's really thinking about. You understand? And Google has no answer for this. The things that Google doesn't have an answer for.
Yeah.
You understand? And so, you know, I've always repped Puerto Rico. You know, kudos to my parents, but especially my mom. She's like one of those bodies that like
Gotcha.
forget it from Ponce, where it's like Puerto Rico
Yeah. With
on
the
top of the
chancleta.
universe. You know what I mean? And so, truth is that I'm actually Puerto Rican and a little bit Peruvian.
A little
But
bit. What's a
yeah,
little bit?
well, like my dad's dad, I think was either half Peruvian or,
Okay.
you know what I mean. But my dad didn't get to meet his dad because he
Okay.
passed away when he was very young.
Okay.
So I grew up completely Puerto Rican. It wasn't until like my double digit years where they were like, "Oh yeah, you're Peruvian." I was like, "What? What are you
Wait,
talking
what?
about?
Yeah, like
What
what?
is that?"
The
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
¿qué
And so,
eso?
but yo, let me tell you, the more you check in with your spirit, with you, the more the universe speaks to you. And Peru has been calling me crazy.
Peru is so. Let me tell you something.
It's ancient.
I've always wanted to do, and I don't tell many people this, but I've always wanted to do backpacking at Machu Picchu.
Oh yeah.
Because it's so Machu Picchu is like so like super spiritual,
Like sacred, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and you know, like it's like I think it's rated like top 5 where they have like one of the highest frequencies
Oh, interesting.
and energies, a lot of alien activity.
Something
just
with
a
over
lot
there.
of things going on over there. You
Listen.
understand? I'm trying to dissipate. No, let me stop.
Wherever there's pyramids, there was aliens. Let me stop.
Yeah.
Because how
Let's not
motherfuckers
get
did it?
into
Because
that
how motherfuckers
conversation.
did it? Yeah, we're not going there. We're not going there. We gotta come back for
So
like
going
2 more
back
episodes.
to you being Peruvian,
So,
by the
yeah,
way,
so-
ceviche is bang. Have
Yo,
you had
but-
the ceviche?
come on, of
I'm
course.
just saying.
That was like the first thing that was introduced to me. You know what I mean? That I understood that was Peruvian. You know, but I was raised body. You know,
Okay.
I'm now in my adulthood trying to connect more to the calling of Peru.
Okay.
Understand those roots, understand that heritage. Ultimately, you know, bottom line, I'm human. You know, and I
Yeah.
always like to make that distinguish. Like, I'm not here to just resonate and connect with Puerto Ricans, you know, or just Peruvians.
You just wanna connect with people.
Ultimately, it's the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as I understand, or what I believe is, you have to start
Small.
small. You have to start in, you know, focused in one area, and then when you get that, then you get to the next, and then all of a sudden you have a continent, right? And then maybe the world, hopefully. And so Puerto Rico is one of those areas in the world where it has just been completely neglected, overlooked, lied about, lied to. You understand? And I think it's just time that the world, you know, kind of just acknowledges this. You know, what can come from it, I'm not sure. You know, but the truth matters to me. And so that story is important. So stay tuned, because
Well, thank
I'm
you for that.
definitely working on showing the world, you know, the truths of Puerto Rico and between America and Puerto Rico, and just kind of like, you know, going back to the Puerto Rico parade thing that I did. It's all about giving ourselves our roses, because no one else is right now, you know, and people don't know who Pedro Albizu Campos is. You know, they don't know a lot of names, but that's a name every Puerto Rican should know.
But unfortunately, as you mentioned, not a lot of people know the names, you know, and you know, I again thank you, because like you see, my family as well from Puerto Rico, you know, born and raised out there. You know, I'm born here, you know, in the Bronx, right? So, but a lot of things is washed down, or a lot of things is not lied upon. You know, like there's a lot of information not being told properly.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that, because I've met so many people who don't know their history, and it doesn't matter your background, your ethnicity, whatever. But a lot of people don't take the time. I'm not saying everyone, so don't come for me. But I'm saying some people don't really take the time to really acknowledge their history. So for you to acknowledge that, for you to share it on your platform is super dope, because look, I remember when you tweeted and posted, like, when you hit your 10K, now look where you're at. You understand? Like, so it's like you have a platform. You have people who are tuning in. And the fact that you are staying true to yourself is super dope, because we live in an environment, in a world where social media, perception is everything.
The facade.
Yeah, you know,
The
like
smoke and mirrors. Trust me, I know.
So the fact that you are living your truth, you know, and regardless of whatever you're not, you listen. It's okay to be private. You understand, like,
Always,
but
of
you
course.
are being authentic to who you are, and whatever
Absolutely.
that means, that's towards you.
Right, exactly.
and people
Yep.
need to understand that. It's super
Yep.
dope.
Yeah, no, thank you. And so there's a lot of that, going on. I turned 33 this month.
Okay.
And so
Jesus. What up, Jesus? Nah, let me stop.
exactly, exactly though. No, I mean, you're gonna see a whole different type of turn up that's about to happen. Because again, you just there's different levels,
Okay.
and you get to the top of one level and you feel like you're ready for the next, and that's kind of like the space that I feel like I'm in right now. And so there's a lot of things happening.
So how do you manage to stay personal and original in your creative endeavors?
Love it. I bring me to the equation every single time. You have to understand.
Okay.
My brain works in equations because of the engineering foundation that was laid.
Yes.
So filmmaking, acting, everything is literally in variables.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking about the equation. It just happens because our brains are this powerful. It just happens where I see
Okay.
like, okay, in order to have the best result for this, I need to have this setup.
Okay.
Right? So for me, it's just bringing my energy to it all
Okay.
the time because that's the most original thing you can do. I've never tried to be anything else
Okay.
or anybody else. No matter what. Look, I'll tell you, it's hard to be the kind of guy that I'm trying to be, because this world isn't set up for good men.
Yes.
You understand? This world isn't set up for good for the good to thrive. You know, it is. It feels like a giant responsibility for me, to be honest, to walk the path that I'm walking, which feels like a different road than most, because, like I said, this world is set up in a way where if I wanted to take advantage of the system, of people, then I think I was born with attributes where I could exploit those things. You know what I mean? The way other people do. But it would not be who I am. You understand?
Yeah.
Like it would not be my life's purpose. And so I have to, in my art, always stay true to that. Like I was saying earlier about the adult humor. I love adult humor. I'm a very sexual person. But through my content, you understand, I'm very conscious and aware. I want to give you sex, but I want to give you funny.
Yeah.
You understand? And for me, that's the ultimate. Finding that balance, because life is about ultimately balance, and that shit
Okay.
takes work. Let me tell you, because there's times where I don't want to be the nice guy, the conscious being that I am. Like just to give you an example, like homeboy who was in my comments talking a little bit crazy. It takes conscious effort to not rebuttal in a human impulsive way.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because I could easily be like, "Bah, rah," and just like, you know what I mean? Slap him on the forehead in the comments. You know what I mean? But that would totally go against my artistry.
Okay.
That would totally go against what I'm about. I'm not here to break anybody down or discourage anybody, even if I don't like what you're doing. Right? Like I get people hit me up, like I do comedy, here's my video. When can we work? I'm not here to shut you down.
Okay.
Right? So I'm not gonna say yes, but I'll tell you, like, listen, like, keep working. You know what I mean? Like, cool, find your flow. You know what I mean? I'm gonna encourage you to still do what you believe you want to do. Because who the fuck am I to tell you not to do what you want to do?
Yeah.
I don't-
Exactly.
Like, whether I
That's
think
right.
it's good or not, it doesn't matter. Whether I think it's good or not, it doesn't matter.
That's a fact.
If that's what you want to do, go and do that. You understand? I may not necessarily do it with you.
Yeah.
Because I don't really, connect with what you're doing. But as long as you're not hurting people, then do what you do. You know what I mean? And find yours. You know. And so, it's tough being original in 2021 because everything's been said and done. You
Yeah.
understand? And I tell people all the time, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. At the end of the day, you have to bring and that's why bringing you is important, because you bring your world to whatever it is you're doing. And I treat people as like worlds. Like, you're a completely different world. You're a completely different
That's a
world. The people
fact.
watching, every single person is a different world. The problem with society, this machine that we're born into, they want you to just bunch people as sardines so that you don't care. You understand? But you grew up with your own dreams, your own fears, you have your, like, all type of experiences I know nothing about. You're a whole other world.
Yeah.
I can't treat you the same way as I treat the next person.
Yeah.
You understand? And so that's how I function. That's how
Okay.
I move. And so I just think all the time I'm open to creativity, which is a whole other conversation about what creativity is. And it finds me. You know what I mean? And as long as I'm being true to me, then it's original.
You know, like again, your approach towards a lot of things, your response and everything is super informative, and you're not even trying.
Thank you.
So again, you know, like super dope on that. You
Well, I
know.
appreciate you saying that because, like I said, like I was saying, it's not easy, you know, to maintain that composure when, in your comments when people are like trying to like come at you or say something crazy. You gotta understand the game you're playing, and you come into this industry, you're gonna know you can't please everyone as much as
Yeah.
I would love to. You really can't, you know, and you have to detach yourself from people's opinions.
When did you start learning to do that? Have
Like in school, it was like ingrained in me. You
Okay.
know, it was I had a really strong mentor in college, and it was like, you can't give a shit what they say.
Okay.
Like start learning that right now because
Okay.
people will shit on you, you know.
People are
And
harsh.
yeah, people are harsh. People are harsh, and for multiple reasons that have nothing to do with you, right? Because they maybe try to shit on you because they wanted to do what you're doing, and so I could have did that better. So it's trash. You know what I mean? You don't know why they're coming at you like this, so don't make it about you. You know what I mean? And again, my thing is to bring people together. So it would do me no service if I come out and I shut that guy down. And I'm like, yo, you whatever, and I come at him in a way where he's not gonna understand the message I'm ultimately trying to get through. You understand? Because he doesn't know. I can tell he doesn't know. Because when you know, then I can tell that you know.
Yeah.
You understand? Because unless you're like a human being that doesn't give a shit and value life, you know, then maybe you don't care what the history is between America and Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Or other things for that matter. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot because I wanted to, like, you know, sometimes I be wanting to go in, like, yo, that's the Harlem in me, you know what I mean? That's the Leo, the lion, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
know.
don't bring them out, don't bring them out, you know what I mean? But it's again a part of my purpose in my artistry to maintain composure, and I love that we mentioned Jesus earlier because you can't be Jesus, right? But you can strive to be Jesus-like, and what does that mean? That's gonna mean something different to everybody depending how you view Jesus, right? But for me, like he was able to do all the things he did because of the sight he had, the awareness, right? And then his ability to elevate beyond that human emotion and go, I see why you did that. I get it. And we're still gonna move this way, right? Like he saw Judas and he knew the whole time. And he was like, I see it. He elevated above that human emotion and was like, okay, see why you did this. I still love you. Don't worry. You know what I mean? And that's hard to do. As a
Yeah.
human, that is so hard to do. Like, why? I see why you trying to hurt me right now. You understand? I see why you trying to hurt me. I get it. And you elevate above that. That's so hard to do.
It is.
You know,
It definitely is.
and over time I've learned to get better and better at that in the comments because it's not the first time somebody in my comments have, you know,
I could imagine.
said something or try to come at me, and I'm all about debate, so we could debate, you know, but once the insults and the disrespect come into play, then it's like, I gotta now I have to manage this because they're coming at me with disrespect and that kind of energy, and my human emotion wants to come back heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the God in me is like, no, like see why, like I will have perspective for you to be like, I see why you feel that way. I see why you see that. Like homeboy in my comment, like he's obviously from Florida because he couldn't stop talking about Florida and the Puerto Ricans he knew in Florida. Okay, so you're proud to be a Floridian, you know, maybe a Puerto Rican Floridian, and you think you know some history about the Caribbean, but we're not talking about the Caribbean, you know. And not to get too into his comment, but he was talking about the Caribbean entirely, and I'm like, I'm talking about Puerto Rico though. We're not talking about the U.S. Virgin Islands. We're not talking about Haiti. We're not talking about DR. You know what I mean? Ultimately, a dream of mine is to unite all these things and create something like a Caribbean Union, the CU, much like the EU. But we're just going to put that book out there
I like
and
that.
see what happens. Because people forget, you understand, that that's a thing or could be a thing, right? And we don't necessarily need, you know, this attachment to America. If ideally, if America, you know, would come to their conscious senses, they would acknowledge the things they've done to us, to Puerto Rico, and in some form of reparations, give us our independence, and then instead of chaining our hands, hold our hands so that we can establish ourselves as an independent country, much like DR or Haiti or any other Caribbean entity, country in there, and not make us feel like we need you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because my problem with state is that then we lose everything. You understand? We lose our flag. Now we're American. We're already born American. That's a whole other point that I want to make.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, when you think about Spanish Americans, people may like default to Mexicans.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is that the only people that can be born outside of America and still be American and Latino is Puerto Ricans.
Sure.
There's no other place. You know what I mean? You could be Mexican born in America, then you're Mexican American.
Yeah.
You understand? But I could be born in Puerto Rico and still be born American. You understand? And we didn't choose that. People forget. Like, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, take advantage, take advantage. They just so ignorant. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, no,
Do you even know
exactly.
why they made us citizens? Do you know why? America probably hates themselves for the fact that they made us citizens at some point, because they made us citizens because they needed people to go to war. You
Yeah.
understand? And if we weren't citizens, we couldn't be drafted. So they made us citizens so that they could send us to war. That's just small details. You know what I mean? So don't get me started, because I get started.
You said, don't get me started. No, but it's like, but again,
There's a lot. There's a lot.
there is a lot.
There's a lot. You know
There's
what I
a
mean?
lot, and again, like, like, there's so much I know, and it's, like,
Right.
yours. Again, the little that you spoke about. You've informed me, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's a beautiful thing,
It's,
because
yeah.
I grew up that I've always been that type that I wanted to learn my culture.
And I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to bash America or feel ungrateful for everything, because America, there's always two sides to every coin, right? There's pros and cons to every situation.
Yes.
But there's a lot of there's bloody history behind the cons, and that's the point. That's the thing that I want people to acknowledge.
Like, what are you doing with this information?
Well, I'm just gathering right now.
Okay.
And I don't want to speak too much on it just yet, but everything's in development. The idea is to just create a film, tell a story that is our story and that humans can resonate with.
Okay.
You understand? It's not to make a. It would do me no justice to just make a movie just for Puerto Ricans, because then
Okay.
no one would see it. You understand? It has to be a human story placed in Puerto Rico during the time period. And I don't know. I have a bunch of ideas how I'm gonna get that done. I'm reading another book called Fantasy Island right now, which is a really good book. If you're curious to know more, read into the book War Against All Puerto Ricans. That's a great book to start with. It was gonna give you a lot of heavy history,
Okay.
but very informative. I'm telling you right now, like, people don't even know. Like, America tried to sterilize Puerto Rico. They don't even know. They literally, legit sterilized about 25 to 35% women at one point.
I can imagine.
They were inducing cancer in people. They were killing, there's the Ponce massacre. People have no idea that the first time America bombed its own citizens was Puerto Rico in 1950 in Jayuya. People don't know. They don't understand. There was who Pedro Albizu Campos actually was.
So, War Against Puerto Ricans.
War Against All Puerto Ricans.
All Puerto
That's the name
Ricans.
of the book. Yeah.
Okay, definitely.
you're gonna see.
I'm gonna buy that book.
It's heavy.
Okay.
It's not expensive, but it's very heavy. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It took me about a month and a half to read it, just because
Okay.
there were moments where I was reading and I was like, I had to put it down. Like, man, like, how is this a real thing in life? You know what I mean? Like, if you're wondering why Puerto Ricans, go so hard for our flags, it's because at one point in time it was literally illegal to own a flag. If you got caught with a Puerto Rican flag, you were going to jail for 10 years.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That's
It don't make no
crazy.
sense.
It doesn't.
You know what I
That's
mean?
insane.
But
it's-
so there's a lot of that. You know what I mean? So the goal is to ultimately give information, give perspective, right? Every single time. That's the goal. Give
Okay.
information, give perspective.
Okay.
Whether that's through laughter, through tears, through exploration, in some adventure film. You know what I mean? Like, the goal is always that at the end of the day.
I know the great thing is that I do see how much you are for the community.
Yeah.
And how much you are for the people.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that you deep dive and you go into that rabbit hole, like, I was just like, oh shit, okay.
People don't know, yeah.
Yeah,
Because you won't
so-
get that from my Instagram. I'll tell
No,
you
you
right
would
now.
not.
You will not. I mean, if you literally dissect my page, then maybe, because you'll realize the conscious effort that goes into my page. You'll realize these certain things. You know what I mean? But that takes a deep dissecting. done to my page because I post everything that I post, every single word is all consciously
Okay.
there for a reason.
Yeah.
Every hashtag is giving you pieces of me. But again, over time, learning Instagram, learning my flow, learning what works, you have to find a balance. And like, I could have maybe had 1 million followers by now if I was willing to do certain things. But I wasn't willing to give certain parts of me up to just get that exposure
Gotcha.
for the following. For me, like I said, I get to do what I love to do on the highest level. All of that comes.
And you're full time, right? Full time entrepreneur
Oh
and
yeah.
everything.
Oh yeah.
Super
Yeah.
dope.
Every day, wake up. And
Yeah.
it's like, what am I creating? What am I doing? Let's figure this out. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
But I mean, there's schedules. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely,
when you're
there is.
working on things, there's meetings, and there's always something. And that's the magic of entrepreneurs. We
So-
have to create our work.
What's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
One thing I know now that I would have known then. That's a good one. I guess I want to say that it's hard for me because I've already digested so many
Okay.
things in my growth over time. I'm like, what would I would have known? What I really would have liked to known in 2010 when I first started acting. Was that I would probably, enjoy the journey and the process so
Okay.
much. Like the artist, like the struggling artist, the starving artist life, that shit is real.
Yeah.
I'll
it
tell
is.
you right now. Like when I went full time in 2015. That's why it's interesting you told me when you started this in 2015. I quit because I was still working as an engineer while doing acting all the way up until 2015. And then I was like, full time artist. I'm doing this from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. And at that point, I don't know. I guess I kind of feel like I knew these things that I know now, but I didn't live them. Right?
Okay.
Like I knew that I was gonna financially struggle. I knew that I was gonna creatively have to fight for my messages. You know what I mean? Like
I get
I
it.
knew that I had to be in love with the journey,
Yes.
the process. You have to, because if not, you won't see it through. You won't see your vision through. I know a lot of people, and you hear it all the time entering this industry. Oh, so many people going and they fail, and there's all that kind of talk, and that's where believing in yourself is everything. It's literally a power. Like think about this. Like the reason why there's so many different religions on this planet, right? It's the power of belief. Like for these people that believe in each of these religion, that magic works for them. That religion works for them, right? And how could that be? Like, are there really this many different gods? Are there really this many different religions, right? Or is there's this special power of belief, right? That as humans we have, where anything you believe will give it power,
I mean,
right? Anything you believe into, you're gonna give it power.
because it's all your mindset.
Well, it's something
how powerful the
it's
mind
something
is.
we honestly can't understand yet, right? Because it's something on some other energetic level where like this power of belief in God is so strong that miracles do come through. Things do happen, right? And that's for every single religion that goes on and goes on, right? So
Yes.
what is that? What is that power? It's literally the power of belief, right? So the strongest thing you could do is believe in yourself, because you are literally placing that miracle power that you have in these religions in yourself. You understand? And that's why a lot of success stories, when you hear like, any big celebrity, the common denominator is that.
Yeah, no, it is.
Believe in yourself.
As cliche as it sounds, it's truly real.
But that's why I wanted to dissect it and go a little bit further, because it's too cliche to just say believe in yourself.
Yeah.
What does that mean though? You know what I mean? What does that like? Break this down for me a little bit further, and that's my attempt to break it down by saying it literally is a power.
It is a power. I learned that reading a book from the author Dwayne Wire. He passed away.
Okay.
And he has a book that was basically my first book into my spiritual journey. and it's the name of the book would be Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And it's truly like you
I've heard of
mentioned
that.
how powerful your mind is,
Oh yeah.
how powerful the belief is with whatever it is, you know, and people don't realize it. And I get it, things happen that sometimes you can change your mindset in a sense. It all depends how, you know, like how you tackle whatever it is that you're dealing
Right.
with, you know.
Absolutely.
So, but it is true, like the power of the mind is truly impeccable. You understand? Like it's literally, there's so much that can be done once you have that mindset. Once you
Absolutely.
believe in yourself.
No, I think there's like I totally understand and I'm with you on that, you know, and I would take it, you know, maybe a little step deeper or further where I want to say like, you know, I like to say,
We are celestial beings. That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
we are electrical celestial beings, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole.
You know, but I like to say from your mouth to God's ears and then back to your footwork. You understand?
Yeah.
Because that's the equation, right? We can sit here, we can pray, we can wish, and the 50% of that is your footwork. Like start going, and like not to get too biblical or stuff like this, but there's a lot of stories where it's like just go to the land that is yours. You understand? Where is that? Walk. And that faith, that belief that, okay, I don't really know where I'm ending up, but I have this faith and this belief, and I'm just gonna start taking steps
Yeah.
in one fucking direction. And that's gonna take me to the next thing, it's gonna get me to the next thing and end up where I'm supposed to be. You know? And so in a strong way, you have to believe in your destiny to create your destiny.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, how do you reach your destiny if you don't understand it?
I feel it.
You know?
It's really that black. It's really black and white. It's really, for me, simple terms, and it's not simple like that. Like not to play it, downplay it, but it's really that black and white where it's like it's either yes you want it or no you don't.
Exactly. It really, really is.
It's just that choice you've
right.
been saying.
Absolutely.
Everything in
I
life is a
mean,
choice.
It absolutely, because one decision will lead to the next decision.
Absolutely.
Every
So you made
single
that choice
time.
to take your foot,
Right.
your feet, and just take that step.
Right. The choice of believing yourself, the choice of not giving up. Because let me tell you, you can start walking. You can start walking, but that faith better be solid.
Absolutely.
Because you will be tested.
Yeah. No,
A
I agree.
time and time and time again, you will be tested. And, you know, this is when, like, the vision and understanding your purpose is very important because you won't let go of that. But, yeah, man, you know, it takes your half at the end of the day. It takes your half. Whatever you believe in. Whatever you believe in.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
And if if you consider yourself an atheist and you don't believe in anything, you know, there's never any judgments to how some human being on this planet chooses to live and think, you know. But then my question is then the why. Like, why what? Why when? Why where? Why anything? You
Yeah.
understand? And so, you know, at the end of the day, it's to believe in yourself. You can believe in yourself whether you believe in God or not. Or in any other religion, you're still allowed to believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
You know,
I agree. I want to know, lastly, is when was the last time you did something for the first time?
Oh, I love that. And I love that I have an answer. The last time I did something for the first time was that little like Puerto Rican parade stunt that I pulled. I've never done that before.
Okay.
You know, where I made like a call to action, and people showed up, and we did a thing for the neighborhood, and people loved it so much. You know what I mean? That I have to continue this now.
Yeah.
Next year it's going down and much bigger. I'm already working on it. And that was the first time for me, you know, where I literally woke up. My spirit was like, you got to do this. And I was like, we're doing this. I had literally recently, like days before that morning, had lost a cousin.
Okay.
He lost his life. Rest in peace, Pierre. You know.
My condolences.
Such is life, But again, everything is how you react to these moments, And his passing gave me energy to just say, I'm doing it. Fuck it. Like, I'm alive. You understand how grateful you should be to just be that? You understand? Because I could be that. You know what I mean? But I'm not. I'm still this. And while I'm this, I'm gonna do everything, And it gave me that motivation. And I was a little bit nervous. I don't really have a lot of fear, but I was a little nervous because I never did it before. It was like, how many people gonna show up? Are we like, where are we gonna walk? Are people gonna really feel what we're trying to do? And you sometimes have to find that balance of thinking and not thinking.
Yes.
Right? It was like I was thinking I got of all the purpose, but then overthinking would have made me not do it. So I had to like just cap it at some point and then not think and just do. And it was tremendous. Actually, tomorrow I'm gonna post the long version of that,
Okay.
so people can take the walk with us and they could see how it literally all just transpired on its own.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a route. I was like, we're gonna walk to 116 and see what happens. Fuck it, we're turning here. Now we're turning here. We're gonna turn this way. Now we're turning here. Like it just organically made itself, And that was the first time I had ever done anything like that.
Okay.
And I'm so happy that I did because it put
Dope.
me on a whole nother level where now, on top of everything that I'm already doing, I want to make sure that I do things like that for the neighborhood.
Dope.
Spanish Harlem specifically, because again, I want to start micro. I don't have the resources right now to blanket this love everywhere, right? I got to just blanket my hood first. Let them feel the love. Let them give the love back, boost me up a little bit, and then I can have more blanket for the next hood, for the next, because somebody told me one time, and they was like, you gotta like, own your hood first. Start
Yeah.
there. Like if your hood holds you up, if they hold you down, then people will come find you. You know what I mean? And that always stood with me.
Gotcha.
And just being who I am, coming from Spanish Harlem, El Barrio, which is the grounds for the Young Lords, which is a whole other conversation. The Young Lords is a Puerto Rican political party. And they ran through El Barrio. I'm a block away from the church that they, ultimately kind of took over to give back to the community. It's a whole other history. But yeah, that's another long answer. Sorry.
No, you're fine. But that's super dope. I saw videos. A lot of people did go, and again, like, thank you for that because again, we were in a place where like the parade was shut down.
Exactly.
So to provide again for the community, again, you are inspiring.
Right.
So you're
you.
not only inspiring, but you're motivating others to team up with you, or or to be a part of movement.
Exactly.
And as micro as it is, it's sometimes the smaller things that make such a big effect. And that's coming from a person who's very detail oriented. You understand?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
super dope that you're doing that. I love your platform. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Continue pushing forward. And your energy is just. I love it. I can reciprocate to it. You understand? Like I was just like,
I appreciate you,
So
V-Henny.
I look forward to your growth, and I look
you.
forward to seeing you get to where you're destined to be.
Thank
So. For those that are watching, for those who want to follow you and just watch your movement and everything, where can they find you and all that good stuff?
Right now, I'm specifically on, or I should say dominantly on Instagram. And
Okay.
you can find me at Marc_Reign. That's Marc, MARC _REIGN, Marc Reign. But I exist on almost all platforms. I'm on Facebook, but that's more like family oriented for me.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter. I don't,
Yeah.
live there too much, but I'm there. YouTube. I'm on IMDb. I mean, like you can find me.
Okay.
But definitely, check in and tune in with the Instagram because that's where I'm really living.
That's your
you
that's
know,
home right there.
online. Yeah, that's where you can really, you know, my stories. I like to show, you know, the moment of like how I, you know, show the story here,
Yeah.
you know, and so I'm strategic with my Instagram, you know,
Oh,
so check it out.
whenever you have anything going, by the way, like please,
Oh yeah, I
let
got
me
you.
know. I would love to be a
Absolutely.
part of it. You know, I want to just say again to everybody who's tuning in, watching, commenting, liking, loving, subscribing, all that good stuff. You guys are super dope.
Thank
There's no
you.
reason why you shouldn't be following the man. All his information will
Appreciate
be in
y'all.
the description below. So it's just a click away. Support is free, guys. You understand?
That's a
So,
fact.
y'all already know the vibes. It's your girl V-Henny, man. We got Marc Rain in the building.
V-Henny,
And we out. So y'all already know. Rock
the
out with your
artistry.
cocks out.
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank you.
Dig, you know, and rock out with your cocks out. Jam out with your clam out. You dig?
I love that shit.
The artistry.
Catch us on YouTube, Facebook, or outlets.
Follow us, the Artistry NY.